Well, hello again, and welcome back to Templates for Change, Nature's Laws and Harmonies series. And this is part 4. And here we're looking at the law of 4, the 4 elements, and how 4 is involved in the cycles of physical growth and in physical life as well. So let's get started. Now, as we move on from the triad, which seems to be all to do with energies, we're now moving on to the fourfold influence. And it seems that this now is to do with the physical form. It seems to be integral to the process of physical existence, of life and growth in the universe and on Earth. Now, we know there are 4 core dimensions that allow 3 dimensions moving in time, which allows life as we know it to exist, to the 4 core requirements for life, which we'll look at shortly, as well as the fundamental structures of DNA, which have 4 chemicals in them to allow the existence of DNA and RNA, and also the basic physical platform of life's design, which we're going to explore. So this law of 4, this structure of 4, seems to be fundamental to the physical universe, nature, and all life. So let's just see if we can explore this. Okay, so let's continue to look at 4 in our universe and in the growth of all life. And of course we've noticed that without the 4 basic dimensions, including time, well, we couldn't physically be here in any meaningful sense, could we? And none of this could be taking place, so we certainly know we need those 4 dimensions for physical existence to occur. And then, of course, there are actually 4 states of matter. There's solid, there's liquid, and there's gas that we all know, but there's also plasma, which is a kind of ionized or charged gas. And life needs the double helix of RNA and DNA. And both of those need 4 chemicals in their construction. And in DNA, it's adenine, thymine, guanine, and cytosine. And so we know that for life to exist anywhere in our universe, there needs to be 4 critical elements or requirements. There's air or a gas. There's fire, you could call energy. There's liquid water, which is critical. And then there's the earth or the growing matrix or the place of existence for all of this to come together. And also within life itself, there are 4 major key elements that are needed. There are many other minor ones or smaller ones, but the 4 major ones are carbon, oxygen, hydrogen, and nitrogen. So we can then look from the universe and life into ourselves, into the structure and design of ourselves. And here again we find this fourfold nature and the presence of the cycle of fourfold growth, and that's found through our human design as well. For example, we require 4 main foods. That's air for breathing, water for drinking, and the physical food that we talked about, like just carbohydrates and proteins. And we also need electrical impressions as well to survive. Our body works through a process of electrical energy and electrical impressions as well. I mean, for example, try not thinking. So our system also has 4 key endocrine glands, which are fundamental to our life and growth in many remarkable ways. And indeed, wherever we seem to look, we seem to find this fourfold requirement and fourfold cycle. So here are some of the examples set out in our cells and physical bodies, and the fourfold nature of the requirements of our physical life, we have four main physical chambers in our body: the stomach, chest, bowels, and head. And they process, of course, by majority are four physical foods. That's the physical carbohydrates, etc., in the stomach, the air in the chest and lungs, the water in the bowels, and the electrical impressions, etc., in our head brain. So we also have four blood groups. We've noted A, B, O, and AB. And our heart has four chambers pumping the blood around our bodies, and here they are listed here. And as we noticed, we have four endocrine glands: pituitary, pineal, hypothalamus, and thyroid. And they again are critical to our life and existence. And when we start looking at the natural world, we also again, of course, find the need for those critical fourfold elements, which are for physical existence and growth of life. And these are air, water, earth, and fire, or energy. And these can also be related, of course, to cold, wet, dry, and warm. And it's that cycle of process through the seasons and within the context of the life of plants and animals that allows the whole process to proceed. So, as we watch the seasons changing and we watch the cycle proceeding on the planet and in our life, what we're experiencing is that fourfold cycle of life and growth in the world around us. And this is fundamental to the physical existence and the progression of life throughout the natural world, this fourfold element system and the fourfold process and cycle of growth. So here are a number of examples of this. We can see in the seasons, can't we? Spring, summer, autumn, winter. And we can see in the life cycle that appears within these seasons: birth, growth, decay, and regeneration. And that's part of the process of all life here. Then there are the elements that relate to them as well: air, fire, water, and earth, and the nature of these elements and seasons: dry, warm, wet, and cold. And of course there are further cycles of life and growth on a daily basis, as in dawn, day, dusk, and night. And again we see the series of directions, the four directions: east, south, west, and north, that yet again relate to these cycles and relate to these structures and help in the development and progression of life. So there we are. There are the four elements. It's quite remarkable to see how they seem to be so important when physical existence is concerned and where the process of growth is concerned. So when we're considering those two, when we're considering the process of growth of anything, we should start off by looking for those fourfold cycle of existence there in one form or another. Okay, so now we've had a look at that, and we're going to now look at the pentagrammic star, which of course is our human shape and is another critical natural principle that has a particularly powerful effect on the human system. Okay, back soon. And just before we go, here again is the summary of the 6 great laws of nature, in case you dropped into the series in the middle of it, or you'd like just to have a quick recall of the 6 laws that we're looking at. And we've just been dealing with 4, which is the nature of physical growth and the fourfold cycles of growth. And we're now going to be looking at 5 natures and principles, particularly in human design and in the human pentagram design shape. Okay, so there's the summary, and now we're going on to the next part of the series.